Hi. Today I'd like to speak about these books that you see surrounding me here. The sun gets very bright here, so sunglasses become indispensable, especially when you're sitting out in the sun because you want the warmth, but you want to protect your eyes from the harsh rays of the sun. Before I get into these books, I'm just gonna play you guys a brief voice note that I received about my book that is Setworks. The reason why I started on this journey of reading school setworks, and these three books are part of that setwork.
I just want to also give you a breakdown of my observation ever since I've noted ukuthi abantwana are using your book, or we have chosen to use the comedian. Around the school when I'm looking at my grade 8s, I just see them with the book out reading at random. That is something that is rare in our school, where abantwana will just take a book and read just because they want to carry on, so they love the book, they relate with the book. Then recently I went to Miss Bisane's classroom for a class visit, and she was doing a lesson on the lisp. Oh my word, like our responses, the interaction, the learners are so comfortable, and they okay, so clearly I could pick up what the children have a liking for the teacher, number one. Number two, like they love the book, they can interact, they've got so much to say about it. And because Miss Mpisane is a history teacher, some of the concepts that are highlighted in your set work, she's able to unpack using the history background. So I even said to her, like, I loved her lesson. It was 1 hour, and I wished I could have sat there for longer. She goes in really deep. I even wanted to record that lesson, because it was so good. And afterwards, I actually came back in that evening to say, can we please have a sit down to carry on with the workbook, because I was blown away with what the book can do. It can do so much. You have no idea. Then Miss Lepule, who is the other grade 8 teacher, she set a paper, like the June exam. She doesn't have many questions because that paper has a specific structure. But even in that paper, she is asking about the lisp. And I love how it gives the children that opportunity. She could have chosen to use any other extract, but she chose to take it from lisp, and I do believe with the learners in that section are going to do very well. So I really am keen. I'm happy.
All right, so I hope that that voice note is actually audible. I think that maybe my phone's speakers are not so very strong, but I do hope that the microphone on this particular phone was able to pick it up, and I do apologize for the background noise. I cannot help it. It's because of where I am. But yes, so based on some of the things that the teacher whose voice note you just heard was highlighting are some of the things that I definitely feel that children do not get to have when the set works are not of stories that are local. So on here you can see I've got three titles. Two of these titles are American based and were written for Americans by American authors. So they focus on life and living in America. And then the third book, that's the only book that actually is based in South Africa by a South African author and written about South Africans who live in a place that is in South Africa. So I think that when kids are reading Shaki's Son, they feel more at home with it. They feel they can interact with it because it probably means that some of the children are familiar with or know. They could even know people who come from that place or who live there. They could have been there on holiday, or I mean, it's a place. Even when being described, when the landscape is described, when the surrounding area is being described, it's talking about the flora and the fauna that they know about, so they can even have an opinion that's based on their own knowledge and not necessarily something that they gleaned from the book to contribute during a discussion. So what I want to say with regards to these three books is that there are some things that I observed that were common themes, or common messages in these three books. So the first one is friendship. So in the first one, The Giver, there's although the story doesn't really focus or is not centered around the friendship there, the main protagonist, which is Jonas, has a friend, and we really get to know a lot about his relationship with this friend and some of the peculiarities of the friend. So it's really such a lovely relationship, even within a community like the one that this book is based on, because it's kind of dystopian. It's based off of I suppose a time when humans have stopped living the way that we do now and live in a controlled kind of way. So it feels kind of cultish, that life. And in wholes, also there the friendship is, I think, the main thing, because it's actually what eventually starts to drive the story forward, and how the story concludes is because of a friendship that develops between the main character, who's Stanley, and one of the side character whose name is Zero, because somehow these characters have a connection in the past, and so it gets brought forward and revealed towards the end of the story. And in Shaki's Son is highlighted there a friendship that develops between two unlikely people. So this child, while he has run away from the people he's afraid of, the people he cannot trust, he encounters this child who frequents this place where he was hiding out. And so they become friends, and their friendship is actually what ends up saving his life in the end. So definitely, friendship is one thing that I seem to observe that these books are about. Then the second one is perseverance. That is also something that's very strong in these three books. And independence of thought is the third thing that is a commonality in these books. And then from there, I mean, the storylines are completely different, because Holes is about a child who was sent to a camp where they discipline juvenile delinquents. And then Ashaki's Son is about a child whose father disappears, and he tries to find out what has happened to his father, because he believes his father's life could be in danger because of some of the things that he discovers on the heels of discovering that his father is missing. So I think that, we need books that are like Shaki's Son, because Shaki's Son is very much like my book, which the teacher was talking about. Kids can learn about their own environment. I suppose without it being intended, they're just listening to or reading about a story of someone doing things, but within that story, they get to learn about the flora and the fauna of the place, or they get to learn about how things work in the country and what are some of the things that they should be aware of, or they should take cognizance of as citizens of this country. I could say a lot more, but I think, 10 minutes is a long time to be speaking. So, yeah, Thank you for listening. I hope you've gained some.